What's up, everybody? It's another year, and we're ending. And January 1st, we have all these new laws coming in to take place in California. So let's go over the stupid ones, the good ones, and, well, let's just see what we got going on here, right? All right, here is a list. This is from NBC4, I guess, in LA. Here are the 24 new laws that are California are known in 2024. The state minimum wage increase. The state's minimum wage will increase to $16 per hour on January 1st. California's minimum wage was previously stood at $15.50. Some cities and counties have a higher local minimum wage according to the Department of Industry Relations. All right, they're raising the minimum wage. Now, I've been saying this for a long time. The only people that win when you raise minimum wage is the government, right? We don't have a dollar menu anymore. You wonder why? Because the minimum wage keeps going up. So what happens? The minimum wage goes up, and that means the price of everything else goes up. Here's the way I want to explain it to you. So a business says, okay, I want to make $5 on every one of these things I sell, right? $5. So then the government says, okay, we're going to tax you more. So whatever they tax them more, that business, they raise it up by that much, so they still make $5. Okay, so if they raise the minimum wage up, well, then it's going to cost them more to make this thing, right? So guess what? They're going to raise the price of this. So everything goes up. So you may have got a minimum wage raise, but in reality, since everything goes up, you're still making the same. It all equals out. The only people that make money are the freaking government. Okay, the government's the only one that makes it. Same thing here. Look, minimum wage for healthcare workers, introduced by the state Senator Maria Elena Duranzo. Will raise the minimum wage for healthcare workers to $23 an hour. That's funny. So you're working in healthcare, you're helping people, you're cleaning up their poop, but you're only making $3 more than the fast food workers. By the way, if you don't know, in California, the fast food workers are now going to be forced to make $20 an hour. Paid sick leave, introduced by California State Lena Gonzalez, would apply to employees who have been working in California for the same employer for 30 days or more within their starting year. The bill would require an employee to have no less than 40 hours or 5 days of accrued sick leave or paid time off by the 200th calendar day of employment. This one's not too bad. I don't see nothing too bad with this. Reproductive leave, introduced by State Senator Susan Rubio, would require employers to offer a reproductive leave. The California Fair Employment and Housing Act makes it unlawful to refuse or grant a request by an employee to take up to 5 days upon the death of a family member. There's nothing wrong with that. This bill would also allow reproductive leave within 3 months of the event and will use other leave balances otherwise available to the employee. An employer may deny leave for more than one reproductive loss within 12 months. I see. So if they have a miscarriage, okay, that makes sense now. That's a sad thing to happen. I think that's a good thing. Work from home, introduced by State Senator Angelique Ashby, requires an employer to provide a 30-day advance written notice before requiring remote employees to return to an in-person setting. The notice would also explain the employer's right to remain remote employees' right to remain remote as an accommodation. This is bullshit. It's an employer. If I want you to come into work tomorrow, you got to come into work tomorrow. I think this one's a BS one. Penalizing cannabis, introduced by State Senator Steve Bradford, would make it unlawful for an employer to discriminate against a person in hiring, termination, or any term or condition of employment. So I read this earlier. What they're saying is, California marijuana is legal, right? Alcohol is legal. But if you take marijuana and you take a test 25 days later, it's still probably going to be in your system. Doesn't mean you're high at that time. So this one, it could go either way. Introduced by, this is the information for agriculture work, would require an employer to give an employee written notice of the federal H-2A visa in English or Spanish at the employee's request. Other languages may also be included and require the labor commissioner to create a template that complies with these requirements. Okay, this is a stupid freaking bill. This is what I don't get, folks. You want to leave your country and come to the United States. You want the benefits of the United States, but you don't want to learn the language. You know how difficult, they're forcing you to do this because, what if something happens? You got to be able to speak English to them. Well, this is baloney. If you come to a country and you get hurt and you can't speak the language and tell them where it hurts, I mean, that's your own dumb fault, right? You came to this country. Most people in this country speak English. Learn English. This is one, like my mom. My mom is from Holland, right? My mom wouldn't teach me Dutch, and I said, "Why, Mom?" She's like, "Cause you're an American." When we went to Holland on the plane, yeah, she taught me simple words that I could talk to my family members. Now, whenever my uncle or aunts would come over from Holland and they wanted to speak at our house in Dutch, my mom said, "No, we're in America. Speak English." That's the way I was raised, and my mom's an immigrant. All right, let's see. 2024 California housing laws, introduced by Assemblyman Matt Haney, would cap security deposits at 1 month's rent even if the unit is furnished or not. This new law would allow owners of no more than 2 rental properties or no more than 4 units to request up to 2 months of rent. So, I mean, you know what? If you got somebody who has a bad past, right? This is not going to help people. If you're somebody who's got a bad past of not paying your rent, you've been evicted a lot, they're not going to take that risk on you. If they take the risk on you, they're going to ask for at least 2 months rent just because, you know, they want to protect themselves as well. So this is not good for people. It's going to make a lot of people have less housing availability, even though I wouldn't rent to those people anyways, right? Rent control, introduced by Assemblyman Zeber, would require that tenants in rent-controlled units who have permanent disabilities related to mobility be allowed to relocate to an available and accessible unit at the same rental rate and terms. This requirement will apply to properties within 5 or more rental units. So basically, they're saying if you're handicapped and you're disabled and you need a handicapped room, if you're not living in one currently and one opens up, you can move to that one and pay the same rent. You know, I'm disabled. I kind of agree with it, but at the same time, I don't like rent control. Because you know, I was working in San Francisco, right? Rents are going for $3,000. And there's this one lady that's been living in the same house for 40 years, same apartment, and she's only paying $500 a month. That's not fair to the guy who's renting it out. And even if he sells the property, the rent control goes along with it. So even the new owner can't raise their rent. It's bullshit, right? You know, inflation happens. If you can't afford to live in the city where you're at because of inflation like San Francisco, then go find a place somewhere else. That's all I'm saying. Credit history. This one prohibits the use of a person's credit history as part of the application process for rental housing accommodation. Tenants must offer the application the option to provide reasonable evidence to pay, such as government benefit payments, pay records, and banks. This is stupid too. If I'm going to rent you a house, I want to know you have the ability to pay. I want to know that you paid in the past. Just saying. Because look what happened in COVID. All these people didn't pay for COVID reasons, right? All the landlords lost their, you know, a lot of them lost their properties because they couldn't afford to pay the mortgage because the people weren't paying their rent. It's only fair. You know, you're screwing over the businessman, and I think that's just BS. Bicycle signals. Will require bicyclists to obey bicycle signals whenever and obey traffic control signals exhibiting different colored bicycle symbols and shown concurrently. So I guess they're going to start putting in bicycle symbols, it sounds like, and if the cars have a red light but bikes have a green light, you can go on the green light with your bike. Speed cameras would allow the cities of Long Beach, San Jose, Oakland, Glendale, LA, and San Francisco to establish a speed safety system pilot program. The program would require the listed cities to engage in a 30-day public information campaign before. So they're saying you got to put your camera notifications up for 30 days before you put the camera up. No big deal. That's not too bad. Shared mobility devices. We'll expand on the definition of mobility devices to include electrically motorized board, motorized scooter, electric bicycle, and non-electric bicycles. This new law would require a shared mobility service provider to place a tactile sign containing raised characters, and accompanying braille as specified to identify the device for the purpose of reporting illegal or negligent activity. You know, this one's just, I don't understand that one at all. So, conservatorship for the gravely disabled persons would establish the procedure of establishing, administering, and terminating a conservatorship for persons who are disabled as a result of mental health or impairment of chronic alcoholism. Minors with disabilities can now be appointed a conservator who will undergo a background check and may be subject to stand before a court. So they're saying now if you got alcoholism and a mental disorder, somebody can control your life. Electronic medical records would allow the establishment of the Medi-Cal Promoting Interoperability Program for the purpose of providing federal incentive payments to Medi-Cal providers for the implementation of. So this is just helping doctors and stuff get paid faster, it looks like. LGBTQ youth support. Here we go, California. The California Department of Social Services will be directed to ensure LGBTQ youth are placed with supported and gender-affirming foster parents. The law requires a family demonstrate the ability and willingness to meet a child's needs, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. So I read this on another place. This actually is going to force anybody who wants to be a foster parent, you must abide by the LGBTQ rules. You're a God-fearing person and you don't believe in that, well then guess what? You're not going to be able to be a foster parent anymore. So I think this is kind of BS. California public safety laws. Concealed carry revision. Prevents a concealed carry of firearms in some public spaces, including sidewalks and school zones. Bullshit. Bullshit. What's the point of having a concealed carry permit? This is fire in public places, including sidewalks and school zone. Well, everywhere's a public place, so that means you can't carry your gun anywhere, is what they're saying. Fentanyl distribution penalty increases potential prison sentences for criminals convicted of dealing high amounts of fentanyl. Good. Good. Child sex trafficking classifies child sex trafficking as a serious felony, includes harsher penalties, and people convicted of such crime. Good. Cut their balls off. I don't care. Ebony Alerts creates a new emergency alert called Ebony Alert, used to help locate missing black women and youth. Okay, this is bullshit. We have the orange alert, right? We already have an alert for missing people. Now you got to do a separate alert just because they're black? What are you saying? Oh, well, they're black, so we got to look harder. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's racist. That's racist to every other race but black. All right, excited delirium. Prohibits coroners, medical examiners, and physicians from using the controversial term excited delirium as a cause of death and from being recognized as a valid medical diagnosis. This bill would prohibit a peace officer from using the term to describe an incident. They're worried about terms, oh my gosh, we get another stupid one. Waste of money. Campsite reservation imposes fees on state campsite reservation holders who cancel within 2 to 6 days of their stays. Those fees can include the cost of the first night. No problem there. I mean, you set the reservation, the place is booked, and nobody can get in, and then you just decide to not come. Yeah, that messes it up for other people. So yeah, you should pay a fine. Gender-neutral toy section. The department stores with at least 500 employees in California are required to have gender-neutral section of children's toys. Bullshit. Stop forcing businesses to do stuff that they don't want to do. Anyway, so there's some of the top new laws for 2024. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and you know what, California, go F yourself.